I'm Jeremiah Boucher, a commercial real estate investor with over 20 years experience. This show is designed to help you build your business, become a better real estate investor, and help you see opportunities that will keep you ahead of the competition. This is Finding Your Edge.
All right, so where the hell are you?
San Francisco, baby.
San Francisco. So what are you doing there? And I saw just recently in another post you did, obviously this is how we communicate, is through social media and just videos that we do. You were in Beverly Hills, now you're in San Francisco. What's happening in Jeremiah's life?
Some nice views of the bay. So I donated to that Sprouts charity, got caught up in the moment, won the celebrity chef auction there, and I got the 2 Michelin chefs coming out here to cook grass-fed meats, got veggies straight from the farms.
I got caught up in the moment. I love that. I got caught up in the moment. Things got a little crazy. I went a little nuts. I
did. They had all these people from Apple in Berkeley. I'm like, all right. I want to help the charity. So this is it. This is the prize. So so these guys are flying out. They're here at a restaurant. My friend has a restaurant, and they're going to cook meals. They're going to cook a grass-fed, organic, like 8-course bomb meal. And we got 16 friends and family and investors, and we're just going to be chilling and experiencing it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's the next book. I want to hear about these things in the next book.
Fun thing. Yeah.
Not the struggles.
Yeah. And the charity's great, man. It helps people get off the street and learn how to a culinary skill, and they can work in Michelin star restaurants. So these like top end chefs, bring them in there and teach them the skills of life. That's cool.
That's fantastic. Sprouts, that's the little grocery store chain? Not the little one, the big one?
No, it's like the California. It's a charity out here. My friend Kate from Berkeley started it. Yeah. So it's great, and it empowers people, right? Everything we do, we try to empower people to have the tools to do, to be their own person and have their own skills, not depend on anybody else.
100%. No, 100%. And that's I think that's probably a good segue into the show is empowerment. How do we continue to sharpen our sword and find our edge and continue to get that in a level where you need to be? And I know we've had some conversations on my edge, right? And how we can take what we've built already, right? So a little background on me for the listeners is that, come from a sales background. So I've always been interested in really, a professional in outbound marketing. That's what we do, is outbound marketing, really. And we just happen to use real estate as the product that we buy and sell. So we're marketers first and salespeople's, first. And talking to Jeremiah, I was on a run last week, and I'll just be open. I was saying, hey, look, we've gotten to a certain level of our business. We do about 15 to 25 flips a year on any given year. And, we might do anywhere from 15 to 50 assignments, which for those who don't know, it's basically I assign my contract to another flipper or rental buyer. And so that's our active income. And of course, on top of that, we have our other business of, our property management company that we hold and for our own, 100 units that we've bought and hold, and we only manage for ourselves. Okay, great. So as I was talking to Jeremiah, I was telling him, look, I am looking to get past that $300,000, $400,000 level. Been there for a long time now, right? So at my old job where we were working, we were making $100,000. It was $150,000 when I left. Now I get to this level, which I'm very grateful for. $300,000, whatever and change, kind of fluctuates over, up 100, 400, let's say 350, 400. But we've been there for now 2.5 years. And, meeting Jeremiah really was at a commercial real estate event where I saw this is really where these guys can push through and do that. It's very tough to scale flipping. You can do it, but do you want to do that? Probably not, is what I want to do. So anyway, that's my background and kind of how we got from where we are to where we are today. And what we want to do is kind of break through it to really be in the next level where maybe Jeremiah was a couple years ago or 5 years ago or whatever that might be. So that's where I really like to have this episode be on is have it be a very selfish episode all about Marty.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought about this a lot, Marty, on this one. So the
Yeah.
Marty coaching episode, your
Yes,
question
yes.
when we were, yeah, digging into things was you're at this level of the economy has changed. There's less volume of transactions in residential and commercial real estate. You're trying to fortify the business, right, and protect what you have, but also grow and scale. So the thing I think you brought up was, do I roll out other verticals? Do I, work with my construction guys and have a construction company? Do I use my property management team and build a property management company? Do I get a brokerage firm and become a realtor? Right.
Yes.
So that's like, those
Yes.
are, that was like where we evolved that conversation to. And I think it's a good conversation for everybody that's listening, where, you know, when I strategize my life and business and my professional career, what do I focus on? Do I build multiple streams of income through my company, or do I stick with the strategy that I have and stay singular, and or some variance of the two? And I think that's a great thing to sit on, like these Sunday episodes that we have. It's nice to sit back and kind of reflect in the morning and think about that. And you said you journal, and we journal these things, and we look at it and go, what are the risk reward, right? How many resources do I have to deploy in order to get these other verticals going, versus sticking with the business that I have, or even cutting the cord on some parts of my business, right? And even going
Right.
double and tripling down on other aspects of my business. So
Right.
thinking about this, I left my notes in Vegas, but I really, what it came down to for myself, and this isn't, Marty, you got to choose whatever you want to do, is I I think until you master the craft of the business that you're in, and if that's buying and selling single family homes, and then you are making, your investments in commercial real estate properties, where you're building up that platform and utilizing your organization through your construction team, through your lead management or lead marketing funnel machine, and you're using that as a vertical to get commercial real estate deals. I think, for my advice is, if you diversify and you go out and try to build different aspects of your company at this stage of the game without the skills and the resources to grow a business, to be able to understand how to lead with strategic key leaders or key department heads of your company, I think that it's going to dilute your efforts. So my advice to you, and take it for what it is stick with the revenue generator of buying and selling single family homes. That's the foundation of real estate for you, for your company. And then also, focus on your deals. Keep driving deals. If you want to continue to market for deals and flip deals or assign them to other people, that's going to put in the reps. I don't think you have enough reps to start scaling a business where you're going to open a construction division, you're going to open a realty division. Now, I'm not saying that you can't strategically align yourself with a contractor or a third-party partner where you source them leads and you get a referral back, or you take an equity participation in their company, but you are not the day-to-day manager. You just have to protect your time, and we all do. Everything I've learned by doing these other companies that are outside my sphere of competency, it's over time diluted my core efforts of the pure driver, the essential portion of my business that I should have been focusing on the whole time, which was buying more mobile home lots and building and buying more storage square footage. That's all I should have been really focusing on. So you can go through those lessons, and you're going to learn a lot about business, and it'll probably make you, a better business person. But I'd hate to see you do that at this stage, where you're spending so much time managing people and managing vendors and revenue coming in and books and all the different challenges with running a service-based business, that I think it would be a critical mistake at this stage of your career to go that route.
Yeah, that is good to hear. It's important to hear it. Not always what you want to hear, but I think I know it's the right thing, is it's funny. We look at the stuff that we're doing and we always think that it's kind of like by the way, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, we flip. I think what I'm getting at is it becomes boring, but boring's good, I think, in a lot of times.
Yeah.
Right? Like I really think that boring is probably, that means you're doing something correctly if it's boring. And it's just something that is consistently boring and it makes money every time. That is a good business. And I think you're right. I know you're right. Maybe it's just doing that a better way, maybe getting better at that, like you said, putting, there's more reps that are needed to be done in this part of our career. At the same time, certainly opening up to the commercial stuff that we're doing and chunking at it. I think maybe I told you offline, but I've been, after I read 10x is the easier than 2x, where we're at, we're basically 90% residential, 10% construction, but probably even 99% residential, 1% commercial. And what I want to do is flip that 80-20, where I want to be 80% commercial, 20% residential. And maybe that's because it's the challenge at in front of me, right? Because I'm in these different circles now where people are doing commercial deals, and I go, well, that's a challenge. I've never done that. But some of these people have never done what I've done either.
Right.
And right. So, but there is that, well, I want to be able to do it because for me, it's like, well, for a couple of things, the evidence, I have evidence that if I say I'm going to do something and it's a goal, I accomplish that. So the evidence is clear that I can do these things. Okay.
Right.
And then it's, well, is it because you just want to say you're doing commercial deals, or is it because you see that there's value and that you can do better and bigger deals to really maybe get to closer to your goals? Because my why is really to get rich.
Right. Well,
okay. And so,
and it's what's behind.
I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people try to like come up with some sort of whimsical feeling of like what their why is. Mine's really to get rich. And it's to then, because then I know my why is going to change once I get rich, right? Then it's going to be, I want to do something for animals, right? I know where it's going to go, but I can't do that today. Right? I still have to get, I have to get rich before I can go and help people, right?
Yeah.
so anyway, that's my true driver, is like, I want to be able to take care of everybody in my family and do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it, and bring whoever I want to bring with me. That's really the true why, but you have to be rich. So those are the goals. And I know commercials are very, seems like I would need to do less transactions than I'd have to do with flips to get to that next step. And I think that's kind of where it is, Jeremiah, where it's like, all right, housing market's really tightening in. I see in front of me, what does this look like at 8% rates? And at the same time, inventory is getting harder and harder to find, really getting tough and tougher to do a lot of deals, right? And that's kind of based on our businesses. We have to do quite a few deals to keep the guys busy, right? We don't want to lay off anyone. We want to keep them busy. We have a big team now. So I'm just spitballing, really. I'm really just talking and maybe not making a ton of sense, but that's kind of what my thought is. I see commercial as a way to maybe only have to do 4 deals a year, maybe 3 deals a year, but they can be exponentially bigger and a lot more value add, where I don't have to do 15, 20 flips.
All right. So Marty, let's break it down in 2 ways. All right. You got you have a business that generates cash. All right. That's number one. Everyone has either a profession or a business that generates cash. Number 2, you have investment. So, what I'm saying, so regardless, okay, you have to generate cash in a business. And then number 2, commercial real estate, this is like, I would say you got a good lesson here. It doesn't make much cash out of the gate. So these are investments. These are long-term investments, especially with this market with mid-7 interest rates, and with the values so damn high with the current valuation of commercial real estate, you're not going to make cash for a while. That's just the reality of most of the deals. So you have to find a vehicle to generate cash, or you have to find or even a vehicle of just investing in commercial real estate, even if it's with creative terms and you have very little cash to put into deals. You still have to you have to raise money. You have to go out and put improvements into the property. So that's an investment vehicle. Your home business is not an investment vehicle. That's a cash generating operating business. So you just got to separate the two. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you're thinking of that too, is okay, I want to be rich, you want to be rich, we all want to be rich, but the values behind it are all individual to us, right? Like freedom, resources, flexibility, time, health, contribution, all these good things that fuel us individually. But what we have to look at is all that matters in the moment is how much value are we creating to other people? So, regardless, like if you have to adapt your strategy of buying and selling homes, then we do that. But you have to make sure that if you are going to make a lot of money, you got to make sure on that first aspect of things, okay, am I going to build up my single family flip thing and I'm going to keep providing great housing to people and generate some fees? Or am I going to buy and build or do something in commercial? But we have to be able to add a lot of value to other people first. So I'm just, that's a decision how you want to drive your business. But, that's what we have to focus on. So for myself, buying and building and managing storage, I'm an operating company first, like I go in here and I have to manage all these assets. I have to construct these assets. I get fees to do that and to provide great investments and raise capital and then give people returns. And this was, I think, the key part of the lesson, and the key part of the question that you asked me is, how do I become, a private equity company? How do I make enough fees so I can generate enough in salaries so people can work for me, so I can be full-time in real estate investing versus just flipping real estate? So I think we went off on a tangent together, both of us here, but I think that, does that make sense, the difference between the two different types of companies?
Yes. And I think that's important to talk about, because that was the original question. But as days go on, different thoughts pop in your head. And but yes, the original question was, I asked Jeremiah, how do you go from being a single operator or how do you go from being a sole proprietor to then being a business owner, which is really what he's about to talk about. And the way I see it in commercial real estate is when you are able to have the right structure with your company, with your holding company, so you can buy something, but that buying something, instead of it being just a holding asset where you can hold it and try to figure it out later on, then you make your money when you sell it. You can, and of course, with the cash flow monthly, but you can then take that, because of the value that you've been able to give your investors, you're able to collect fees from that, and they want you to get paid. So I think that was like the original question is, how do people take that jump into being somebody who's able to say, hey, I deserve these fees, right? Because I think the first couple of deals, a lot of people don't maybe do that. They maybe don't do an acquisition fee. They don't do a management fee, and they're doing it just to kind of get the ball rolling. So that was originally one of the questions, was asking Jeremiah, how does that jump occur? And I'm sure it's not just overnight and it's gradual, but let's kind of dig into that, Jeremiah.
Yeah. And we'll clean up the episode here. We'll make it so people can understand us. Yeah. So, All right. That question is a really good question, because a lot of people go through that. This is like being a amateur athlete going into the professional athlete, phase of your life, or college to professional. So very difficult in the beginning to generate enough income to cover your basic operating expenses to run a real estate company through buying and managing real estate deals. So in the beginning, you only have 1 or 2 or 3 projects that you're managing. So you're going to have to sacrifice, right? As a sponsor, as a general partner, Marty goes out, finds a great warehouse deal. You'd spend all that time on your own, finding these deals and talking to older owners and looking at these older properties that have a lot of deferred maintenance. And then you go in there and you negotiate a good deal, you build trust, you create a win-win situation. Now you acquire this deal. You're building a track record. You don't have much of a track record, so you have a handful of friends and family that will invest with you, that you meet through different networking groups, just through business, through your community, through family. And then you get that, people come into this partnership with you, and you're responsible for their money, and you're responsible for the success of the property, right? So, and you have to figure all this out, and you don't get paid. So this is this big hump that nobody really wants to hear, where it's like, you're not going to make money for 3 to 5 years. I mean, this is commercial real estate. It's not a very liquid asset. You got to learn what the hell you're doing. You went to these conferences for years and the seminars and networking groups just to learn the basics of how to evaluate this stuff and then how to go find it. And you were in real estate, so you were able to translate it over a little bit easier than people that aren't even in real estate for a career. So now you go in there and you have the asset, and you're beholden, not beholden, but you're really responsible for your investors. So in the beginning, you really can't justify a lot of fees. I don't think that an acquisition fee is egregious. I think that as long as you are justifying that you worked your ass off and you found a good off-market deal, and you didn't just find something online, you didn't just find some realtor that brought it to you. And I'm just saying, as a small guy, and this is just a very nuanced part of the niche part of the commercial real estate, just in my eyes, it's like, okay, you went out and hustled. I know you spent a lot of marketing dollars to go find that off-market deal. You spent a lot of time to figure out the market what you were going to buy in, and you spent a lot of time negotiating and trying to get that seller to do whatever they decided to do. So that, to me, warrants an acquisition fee, and a property management fee is essential as well. So even if you hire a third-party property manager, there's still asset management. Like, I'd rather pay somebody that I know there's an incentive to keep your eyes on that property and have someone else help you besides a one-man band. Even if you just have an assistant, an admin assistant, and you have a construction manager, or you have some type of partner that's working on the operations, I would much rather have someone that hustles to get the acquisition, get a fee, and somebody get property management, watch the asset, and maximize value. If I'm in an investment and they're not doing that, and I got some guy that is just floating around and it's in a bad real estate market, and there's no just lucky game anymore where you get to put it back on the market and sell it for $1 million more, you actually have to go out and operate for a living and figure this shit out. Like, I want them to get fees as long as it's fair for the partnership. And I know they're not diverted into 10 different places. So if Marty is running 10 different things like a construction company, and then he's running a realty company, and it's okay, you have a house flipping company, I mean, that's your business. But if you're doing 10 different things, I'm like, shit, his eye is not on the ball, and he is not going to get it over the goal line because he has this nice apartment complex that I'm invested in, but he's truly not head's not in the game because he hasn't been doing it long enough to be able to do 5 different things. So I want to see somebody that is, the proverbial burning the boats. They're all in on their asset. They have a lot of skin in the game. They got money, they got credit, they've cut off the other options in their life. And now they're going after learning and building this asset. And I can evaluate the fundamentals of a deal. Other than that, I'm backing the jockey, right? I mean, the horse is great, but I gotta bet on the guy that's actually running the damn show. If he fucks it up, doesn't matter how good the asset is. I'm a part of that. I'm betting on him.
So yeah, that's important to hear. That's really important to hear, because I think for me, it's you really just made a ton of sense. And we constantly need to be reined in. I feel like when you're a excitable, energetic person, like I'm sure you've had to be reined in many a time.
I still am.
Right. So this is why I do this, and this is why people should, talk to people. Don't try to keep these things bottled in. It's one thing to journal, and that does help, but you've got to also explain kind of your thoughts to, especially someone who's done this, and how important, because you have mentors and I have mentors and you're my mentor, and whether you like it or not, right? And it is the way it is, but because it's like, that's the truth. Like, that's the truth is that, yeah, you can't do the 5 things at once, right? That yes, down the road, can that be something that you can bolt on to your company? Absolutely. But when the other things are humming, like really humming. And so it's good to hear that, because it's just, it gives you clarity, as you know that that's the truth, you know that that's the path, and that's just, it's important. So yes, bravo, that was good, needed that.
It is. Yeah, I love this quote by Mike Tyson where he says, discipline is doing something you hate, but doing it like you love it. So it's, and I think you love it, but if there's anything that you are connected and passionate about, you love it and hate it. That's there's so much energy, behind something. If you don't care, it's easy not to hate it, and it's easy to love it for the minute, but you can't,
Yes.
So for us, I had to be reined in too. Like, I have a business coach through that EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, and through the book Traction. And Karen out of Connecticut is in service-based businesses. And I was telling you a few weeks ago that, I want to do this biohacking studio. And I had to reframe it where, I have enough commercial real estate properties that I'm managing and doing, raising funds. I don't have time to open up some service-based business next to my office. But what I was able to do is decide I frame it where, hey, I don't need members, and I don't need it to even if I make $500,000 on this location, if I did that in a wellness studio, like that, honestly, that diverts, that's not that good of a use of time, right? Every bit of time that we focus on these properties could generate a lot more than that. So, but what I did is I reframed it in a way where it's like, hey, I want to lounge. What do I want to get out of this? She kept asking, what do you want to get out of this thing? And I'm like, well, community. Like, I can go be in a sauna. I can be in a cold plunge in my house. I have everything I need, the red light therapy and the weights and the trainers. But I want community. So, it's great. Like, I could take my personal investment. I could open up this nice little wellness studio where I have everyone that comes and visits Vegas. I'm a half block down the road from Caesars, and we can chill. And instead of going to a bar and going to clubs or anything else, we have an awesome, like, wellness biohacking studio where we can do fitness. We have recovery. We could chill. We have it's like a lounge atmosphere. You sit around, you talk. We could do episodes on podcasts.
Throw the podcast in there. Yeah. Put a studio in there. Yep. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
And I can keep it cheap. And
beautiful.
I got, I could, if I want to invest this type of, $100,000 into this over 3 years, and, I'd rather do that than throw it away to one trip to Europe or throw it away in a weekend in Vegas. And I can build really strong community and enjoy, the time with people that I like to be around that have similar values, and I can be healthier, and it takes me to a place where, drugs or alcohol, don't do it. Like, I like this type of thing to give me that high. So yeah, that was my business coach said. She didn't say don't do it. She said, don't wait, focus. What is most important to you, and what do you want to get out of it? And now I can look through that lens and decide how I want to operate.
For more information on commercial real estate investing, go to patriotholdings.com. Thanks for listening to Finding Your Edge.